Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, rulers, shields, dust, lace, arts, spasms, spassels, bullfighters. I'm a bullfighter. I'm a useful idiot. And today I want to talk about Portugal. And this is the next installment of a look at Eurozone countries that are arguably in depressions. And so we've already looked at Italy, Spain, and Greece. Now we can add Portugal to the list. And the details probably start to sound redundant and familiar as we go through some of the gruesome details of the country after country. So Portugal, most recently, we've had a lot of political chaos there, ministers resigning, and there's talk of a more debt restructuring and another bailout coming up. And one clue, as usual, we have that there's a bailout coming up, or in Portugal's case, of course, another bailout, is that Prime Minister Coelho said that, quote, we have to do everything possible to avoid a second bailout, unquote. So there's your biggest clue that there is a bailout on the way. And once again, we have another country that you think has suffered enough, and 5 years of austerity has really not turned this country around. And they'll be belling up to the ECB trough soon enough. So in 2011, they already got a 78 billion euro bailout, small by Eurozone standards, but a substantial amount of money for a country like Portugal. And economic contraction of 3% last year. So they have the same thing going on. They have a contraction in their economy. They have a shrinking tax base. They have bond yields spiking over 7% again. They're working on another bailout plan and have been for a while. And their debt is 370% of GDP. So they're in really, really, really bad shape. And another symptom, just like the rest of the countries in Europe, is their unemployment was high already at 14.1% and a jump to 16.3%. And also, like all the Eurozone countries, all the other ones, youth unemployment is 42%. So in Portugal, we have this same tinderbox of potential opposition. We have a whole generation lost to the workforce, and they're going to be loaded on with debt. They're going to be living on government handouts, and once again, we see this pivot point of globalization, where a generation of youth have to be left out of the workforce in order to pivot into the new global wage scale, which will have to necessarily sort of even out. In this theory, of course, the wages will go up in third world and developing countries where the cheap labor is, but at the same time, labor in the Western countries has to go down. And at some point down the road, these figures will have to meet in the middle. And that's why I talk about a pivot point with youth unemployment. And their debt to GDP was pretty high already in 2007, just like other countries in the Eurozone at 63%. But their debt to GDP in 2012 nearly doubled it to 108%. So they're going down the same road, trying to solve their debt problems with more debt. And we've seen all the usual austerity in health, education, and Social Security benefits. We've seen massive protests. We've seen strikes. This is just another blueprint. And after a while, it's sad that this kind of country in deterioration just becomes part of the norm, part of the new norm. And they also had a near miss as far as confiscation, because one of the problems that, one of the solutions that Portugal came up with for addressing their economic problems was considered a plan to pay public workers 1 month's salary in treasury bills. So just like with the banks, they confiscate part of your actual wages and your actual money, and give you an IOU from the government. And they also wanted to have a 6.4% cut in retiree benefits, or cutting one the 14 paychecks that civil workers get. So the fact that they're considering such drastic measures says that there's far more to come on the horizon. So, and their standard income tax rate is incredibly high as well. 24.5%. It just recently went up to 28.5%. So even though they didn't get to confiscate the money directly through retiree benefits and public worker salaries, they still managed to take it out of everyone's hide anyway by having an amazingly high income tax rate of 28.5%. So that's a kind of a short one on Portugal. It's pretty obvious they're in a depression. They're going to be lining up for another bailout, and we'll have to watch the timing on this because, of course, Greece is going to need a little bit more of a bailout. Spain has had an ongoing bailout of their banking system and will probably need another bailout soon and is in a depression. Greece is in a depression. Italy is teetering, is either in a depression or heading for a depression, and it will be interesting to see if they need a bailout at the same time Portugal, Spain, and Greece need more bailouts. So more pain to come in the Eurozone. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too. And remember, if I agreed with you, then we'd both be wrong.